Part 4 of Poems for My Children by Ann Hawkshaw. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. King Alfred and his mother are seen in the time of the Saxons. The angel friend, the stream, the poor fly for my little Harry, the land of my dreams, the history of a coral islet, the hermit, the chieftain and the child, a tale about happiness, God is love. King Alfred and his mother are seen in the time of the Saxons. The Saxons or Northmen began to invade Britain before the departure of the Romans, and after much fighting obtained possession of it. This was not a misfortune but a happiness, as they were better fitted to rule the land than the Britons, who had become idle. Although Alfred could not read until he was 12 years of age, he afterwards became a learned man, and wrote many books to improve his people. He was called the Truth-Teller. Was it not a noble title, my child? And now we will take a peep into the old palace where he lived so many ages ago. It was a winter's evening, and fast the snow was falling. The shepherd on the mountain-side his wandering sheep was calling. The weary ox had left the field, and to its shed was wending. Each man and beast that had a home back to that home was tending. There sat a lady in rich attire that evening by a blazing fire that burnt within an antique hall. Rude tapestry hung upon its wall, which oft the night wind swayed and shook, entering by many an unseen nook. She sat and played upon her harp, and pleasantly its music rung, while the blazing faggots cast a glow on the gifted lady as she sung, and glanced and sparkled here and there on spear and buckler round her hung. It was a wild Norse song she sung of the old Valhalla's mystic hall, where the souls of valiant heroes go at Odin's call, and she sung of the rugged Jotuns too, the giants of frost and fire and flame, and many a tale of ice-bound Thule that now we Iceland name. She told how the daring sea-kings roved in their frail vessels o'er the sea, until they reached the English shore, its future kings to be. Then the lady ceased her song, and she put her harp away, when she heard a voice say, "Would those tones ever upon the air would stay! Would that music ne'er would die, or deep words into silence fly!" "Alfred, is it thou?" she said. "Sighest that my song is done? True, the harp chords now are hushed, but the song still lives, my son." "Yes, it lives, but not for me," said the boy. "When words are hid in books, they are like precious gems locked down beneath a casket's lid to him who cannot read the line. And lady, such a lot is mine." "My son," she said, "this book shall be thine own when thou canst read to me its songs of ancient melody." "It shall be mine, and soon." How well he kept his word, let history tell. "But you must tell me who were Odin and the Jotuns, and what was the Valhalla that the Queen sung of to little Alfred?" "Odin was a famous leader and king that the Northmen once had. He governed them wisely and well, and when he died they thought he could still protect them and do them good, and they worshipped him as a god. And the Valhalla was a hall where he dwelt, and where he feasted those who during their lifetime had been brave and good. The Jotuns were giants. Perhaps they meant frost and fire and flame by these giants, because they are powerful and mysterious things, about whose nature we know little." The Angel Friend. "Mother, do angels ever come from their starry home on high? Do they ever wander down to earth, those dwellers in the sky? How sweet to have an angel friend, who would come to the mortals' land, and tell us what they do in heaven, that bright and holy band. To tell of the crystal streams which flow by the fadeless trees of life, and the fresh and fragrant winds which blow without the tempest's strife. And to tell me, if those indeed are worlds that in the midnight sky seem but like shining specks of light when seen by mortal eye. For angels know 1,000 things we do not know on earth, for they have lived through countless years and watched creation's birth. They saw the lovely Eden bowers which our first parents trod, the Hebrews o'er Arabia's sands led by the cloud of God. They've seen great cities turn to dust and people pass away, Chaldea's stately palaces all trodden into clay. They saw where Jesus bowed in prayer on mount in lonely glen. They know where many a martyr died far from the homes of men. Oh, sweet to have an angel friend with a heart all full of love, to bring down to this lower world the bliss from that above. The Stream. Oh, is there aught more beautiful than the clear stream in its bed, with the willows whispering on its banks, and the blue sky o'er it spread? It cometh from its mountain home, like the snow, so pure, so cold, its home but passed by the mountain goat, or the chamois hunter bold. Like a slender line of silver sheen, when the sunbeams on it play, it looks, as down the mountain side it taketh its lonely way. 'Tis one of the strings of nature's harp, and it seems to bear along the tones of many a silent voice and many an olden song. For its gentle music hath been heard, sounding by night and day, long years ere up that rocky path the peasant took his way. And the merry trout shall find a home within its waters clear, as on its course it still shall flow for many a coming year. The Poor Fly, for my little Harry. Once there was a little fly dancing on a window pane, and naughty Harry made it die, and it will never dance again. Poor little fly with gauzy wings, it liked to flutter in the sun, and sleep within the curtain folds when its merry game was done. It had its pleasures and its pains, though but an insect of a day. It had a right to live, and you no right to take its life away. Land of my dreams. I know there are sunny lands that lie beneath the blue of a southern sky, where the sea and the earth alike are fair, and the fragrant citron scents the air, and the vine twines o'er the trellised bowers, and the jessamine spreads its starry flowers. But there is a fairer land to me than even the clime of Italy. There are beautiful islands which seem to sleep in the midst of the great Pacific deep, where the cocoa-nut grows to the ocean's brink, and its roots the waves' salt waters drink, where from sandy shore to mountain height there is one mass of verdure bright. But I know more lovely isles than those that on the southern sea repose. There are strange temples built of yore on sultry Egypt's wondrous shore, where, buried in the desert sand, are idols of that ancient land where Hebrew slaves in sorrow passed long years. All there is old and vast. Strange things are those, but yet to me is a land of deeper mystery. 'Tis the land to which I go in dreams, more lovely far than earth it seems. In a boat of cloud I seem to glide, in a boundless space so new and wide, and all I have loved on earth are there, and all I have seen, but far more fair. As a lovely place in the sunshine seems, it ever looks, that land of dreams. Mother, how can it be, when sleep closes my eyelids in slumber deep, and the soft pillow rests my head, and darkness o'er the world is spread, that I can see these glorious things? Is it my spirit that hath wings, and can it leave this mortal frame, and go to God from whence it came? I cannot tell thee, child, to me as to thyself 'tis mystery, for 'tis but little we can know while in this life we stay below. The wonders of our souls are known to God, and but to him alone. I cannot tell thee where may fly the soul in dreams, to know it we must die. The History of a Coral Islet. Ages ago, beneath the deep, the coral insects reared their stony homes upon the rocks, nor storms nor billows feared. They laboured with unceasing toil, those million tiny things, and they have built more lasting homes than palaces of kings. Long as the waters o'er them rolled, their labours did not cease, but when they reached the ocean's brim, they sunk to death in peace. The seaweed and the floating plank from some bark washed away, the bamboo and uprooted palm soon on the islet lay. Borne by the winds or on the waves, seeds, fruits, and insects came, until a fairy spot it beamed, that isle without a name. Each year more lovely than the last its solitudes appeared. Sweet flowers were there, and cocoa trees their lofty heads upreared. The pelican upon the shore watched for his fishy prey, while lurking in the tangled grass the glittering serpent lay. The waves a ceaseless murmur made upon the pebbly shore, but not a sound of human life the wandering breezes bore. Thus ages passed. At length a sigh, a human sigh, was heard, and the wind caught the passing tone of many a sorrowing word. He was a shipwrecked mariner, borne by the winds and waves, from where his comrades slept in death, deep in the ocean caves. He thought of home, he thought of all who once had loved him there. He thought how at their mother's knee his children knelt in prayer. He thought perhaps they prayed for him, and then he bowed his knee upon that little coral isle beneath the cocoa tree. God heard his prayer. From east, from west, lone isle or hidden grot, if there the voice of prayer ascends, by God 'tis unforgot. A vessel bore him from that spot to his far home once more, his the first foot, and his the last that trod that coral shore. The Hermit, the Chieftain, and the Child. A tale about happiness. It was a summer's evening, and the long shadows fell from tree and overhanging rock on old St. Ronan's Well. All round upon the old grey stones green ferns and mosses grew, and when the wind the branches moved, came gleams of sunshine through. There was a little cell hard by, and there a hermit dwelt, who now beside St. Ronan's Well upon the edge-stones knelt. And in a scallop shell he took a draught of water there. His hair was white, and on his brow were lines of grief or care. "For 30 years," said he, "I've drunk each evening from this well, but I am feeble now, and soon the grave will be my cell. I've listened to the waters fall, I've heard the breezes sigh, and through the creaking boughs at night the winter winds sweep by. I know each pathway through the woods, I've watched yon willows grow from saplings into aged trees down by the stream below. I thought that I should happy be, far from the haunts of men, with none to care for, none to fear, within this lonely glen. But with me this hath not been, for with myself at strife 60 long useless years I've passed, none better for my life." While thus he spoke, a footstep came. He started at the sound, for it was seldom other feet than his had trod that ground. There stood a steel-clad warrior by, leaning upon his lance, and from beneath his plumed helm he looked with earnest glance. "I've lived in courts and camps," he said, "I've travelled east and west, and yet I have not happy been. I've sought, but found no rest. I heard of thee, thou hermit old, and I had come to ask if thou wert happy, but thy words have spared me now the task." Just then they heard a gentle voice say, "Is this Ronan's Well?" And on a maiden's golden curls a ray of sunshine fell. She was a simple village child, meanly but cleanly clad, a picture of the rudest kind within her hands she had. "I've come," she said, "for many a mile, to seek St. Ronan's well, because it hath a healing power, the country people tell. My mother hath been ill long time, but if she drink, they say, of this good water, it will take her sickness quite away." She filled her pitcher at the well, then at the old man's knee she knelt and said, "A blessing grant, good Father, unto me." "And art thou happy, little maid?" the aged hermit said, as on her curling locks his hands to bless her forth he spread. "Happy?" she said, "what does it mean? I labour all the day, but when the old tree's shadow falls, I run abroad to play. I work for mother. When I'm good at night, she gives a kiss. I know not what the happy means, unless that it be this." The old man sighed. "Sir Knight," said he, "we've sought in different ways, I in this forest solitude, thou midst the great world's praise, for happiness, but found it not. But, without search or thought, this little child hath found her bliss in doing what she ought." God is love. Oh, that I know indeed is true, for he has made the sky of blue, and spread the earth with quiet green, while azure waters flow between, because these colours are the best on which the wearied eye can rest. Oh yes, all tells us God is love, around, beneath us, or above. Round us are flowers that without care grow wildly, blooming everywhere. And noble trees, beneath whose shade the pale spring flowerets bloom and fade. Beneath us, deep within their bed, the precious gems and ores are spread. Diamonds and rosy rubies shine, and metals fill the secret mine. And that dark mass which we require at eve to light our cheerful fire. Above us is the glorious sun, and when his brighter course is run, the silvery moon looks forth and makes a path of light o'er seas and lakes, and in the hushed and solemn night wander the starry worlds of light. Within us, as around, above, something still whispers, God is love. For he hath given us hearts to feel a gladness tongue cannot reveal. Vainly had beauty round us been, had we no minds to love the scene. End of Part 4.